What's up, tubers? Tio here, Simplistic Fishing, coming back at you this week with another lake breakdown. Man, we're actually getting pretty close. I went through all the Texas lakes. There's a few big ones that we haven't done yet. We haven't done Lake Falcon and we haven't done Lake Amistad, but it's because the water has been so low down there that I didn't even know if it would be worth the time to do it. I think everything that I marked back then, the water's even lower than it has been even when I marked it. So we got to go back and redo those lakes. But the good news is, still got a handful of Texas lakes left to break down, and so that's what we're going to do tonight. We're going to go jump into an East Texas lake down in Jacksonville, and it's Jacksonville Lake. This one's pretty interesting. Got some pretty cool stuff off the Google Earth side on the north side, and then lots and lots and lots of good offshore opportunities. Let's go look at it. All right, well, the first thing we always do before we finish out these Texas lakes is we go out and we look at the Texas Parks and Wildlife page to see what types of information we can find out about the lake. In this case, we're looking at Lakes Jacksonville. So let's just go through and let's talk about what we found on the page. Location is 3 miles southwest of Jacksonville off of US 79. The surface area on this lake is 1,320. 1,320 acres. Maximum depth is 62 feet, and it was impounded in 1957. You can click this link right here if you want to see the current lake level. You can also see the conservation pool is 422 feet. The fluctuation was only 3 feet, so when we went to go do the breakdown on this one, it was actually pretty difficult because we couldn't see a lot of things here, and I think you're going to find out as we move down and look at the descriptions why it was a little bit more difficult to pick things up from the Google Earth side on this one. The normal clarity is clear to fairly clear, so that's pretty cool. And then if you look here under aquatic vegetation, it says sparse. Now if you look down a little bit later in the description down here, it talks about hydrilla was a problem in this lake, but the city's actually basically gone through and killed it all off. So it says that the topography of the lake Jacksonville is steeper than most in East Texas lakes and also features abundant iron ore rock substrate on points and riprap along the dam. So angling success is best on deep structure, brush piles, and around the lighted piers. We'll talk about that part in a minute, but let's go back up and finish this. So we've got predominant fish species. We've got largemouth bass, spotted bass, crappie, and sunfish. You can see here largemouth bass is good. Spotted bass is actually good for this lake as well. Now, with that being said, before we look at the lake records, let's look at this right here. It says Jacksonville can be a difficult lake to fish, but it has produced largemouth bass in excess of 15 pounds. That's redonkulous. Spotted bass are also present in the lake. Crappie are not particularly abundant, but are usually well above the 10-inch minimum length, and the catfish population is limited by the largemouth bass. Predation and catch rates can be low. So somewhere in here I was reading, I think maybe it's a little bit further down. Yeah, here it said where it can be a difficult lake to fish. It also talks about it down here. Anglers need to find deep structure to catch many fish. Look for largemouth bass along the face of the dam and around patches of the native vegetation in Cat Creek and Bird Branch. Drop-offs along the island across from the marina can also be productive. So there's some key spots for you if you're going to go out there and fish this lake. Only thing we have left to do before we go look at the breakdown is look at the lake records. Let's go check it out. And here we go. There's your 15-pounder caught back in 1986. Someone caught a 15.12-pound bass, 27 inches in length. That thing had to have been a huge, huge football. Let's go catch one. Speaking of big bass, if you missed my 12-pound video, click up here at the top. You'll see it. I caught a 12.12-pound bass out of Lake Ray Hubbard. Biggest fish I've ever caught in my life. Super cool. So if you want to see one get caught, just click that link. Let's go ahead and switch over now to Google Earth and see what we found. All right, here we are out here on Lake Jacksonville. Now it's time to take a look at this lake and see what we were able to find from the Google Earth side. Now, like I mentioned before, this lake doesn't fluctuate that much, so it was kind of difficult to find some stuff. Let's start over here on the left-hand side and let's just talk about the way we have it. We really only have 4 different categories here. We've got channel. Channel, that's going to be your different, really it was just one channel, one main channel that was up here that we were able to identify. I think, and there was actually a ditch somewhere else. Let's see if we can find this ditch real quick. I'll show it to you. You can see these little tracks. They're actually right there in the ditch. You'll know exactly where that ditch is or where that channel is. We've also got cover. Now this could be brush. It could be different areas I wanted you to check because I couldn't tell what it was, maybe debris. There's a road bed that's out there as well. All kinds of different stuff for you guys to go look at. In fact, let's go ahead and on this road, let's change this color so we can see it a lot better. We'll change it to red and then we'll bump that up to 3. So it sticks out for us so we can take a look at it when we come back. All right, so that's all the different cover. Then we've also got offshore. Now offshore is interesting because yes, you see offshore here on Google Earth, but really it's more used for contours. So what we do is we go out to the Navionics mobile app and we use that to look at the contours on the lake, and then we mark key areas based on those contours on the lake and then label those as offshore. So you'll see a lot of different offshore stuff here on the lake, and we're going to talk about that stuff here in just hopefully either at the end of this video or in the next video. We'll talk about the offshore stuff. We'll see how much time we have. We've also got ramps. You can see all the different ramps that are on the lake. Now, you might think this is crazy, but there's actually a boat ramp pattern, and it happens during the spring and kind of going into the summertime. You can find these old boat ramps and you can have a heyday on them catching fish. So here's all the different boat ramps. It's also nice to know where all the boat ramps are in case you have any troubles or anything like that while you're on the lake. All right, let's go ahead and select everything. I'm going to take the offshore stuff off because we're going to talk about the offshore stuff on the mobile app, and you'll see it from a contour. It'll make a lot more sense. We're going to leave all the rest of this stuff on here. We're going to go up here to view. We're going to take off the sidebar. Then we're going to zoom in, and we're going to go up here to the top of the lake just so you can see when the water's drawn down. I'm going to have to go back pretty far. I think I got to go back all the way to 2011. 11 is basically the best image I have, and here you can see we got some good stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to start down at the dam, wherever the dam's at. I assume that's the dam. That looks like the dam. I don't see any other dam there, so that's got to be it. We're going to start at the dam. We're going to work our way on this side. We'll work our way all the way up, and then we'll come all the way back down. So let's just kind of go through this and see what we found. Now, obviously, the image here is not as clear, right? It's back to 2011, but you can see on the dam, it looks like you might have some riprap and stuff like that along the dam. You got a couple boat ramps back here. Not really seeing too much from a Google Earth side. Another boat ramp here. There was a little point that came out here, and you can kind of see it right there underwater, just barely. And I think I might have had another image where I was able to, there it is, where I was able to see that a lot better. So there we go. You can tell that this is a long extended point right here. That could be a really good spot. Probably could have some shell beds on it, stuff like that, and more than likely to have some kind of brush pile or something like that that someone's put out there. As we move on up, again, not seeing too much, right? Not a lot on the shoreline here to really point out to you guys. We move up here, we got a couple slabs and ramps. That's about it. Just basically dirt is all we're seeing. We're not seeing a ton here. Got ramps here. Now there is a funnel here. You can call it a saddle. You can call it whatever you want, but you can tell that this is like an old pond dam, or at least it looks like an old pond dam. And this is kind of the opening in that pond dam. A lot of times, people call that a saddle, or they'll just call it a pond dam, or they'll call it a funnel. You can call it whatever you want, but basically there should be a little break in here, somewhere in here, and somewhere over in here, and those fish like to set up in those areas like that, so that could be a really good place to look. Also coming up here, you got some more ramps. Moving around here, just a lot of just dead, not dead water, but just dead stuff from a Google Earth standpoint. Not much to show you. Clearly you're going to be fishing some docks here and things like that. And again, this may just be an offshore lake, or a majority of an offshore lake, just based on what we're reading. You can tell here there's just not a lot of shoreline cover going on in this lake. I'm going to zoom this back because we've gone down pretty far now without finding anything. We finally get down here, and we get down the edge of this little corner down here. There is some pretty good debris down here in the water. You can just barely see it right here. Not even sure. Let's move that up to 2019 was the last one. Yeah, and it doesn't. You can't even tell it's there. So it should still be there. You can tell there in 2012 that something's definitely there. Then we're going to move back. Didn't see anything going down here until we got in the back here, and this is where that road bed was. So you can tell there's an old road bed that comes right here. Here's those two openings. It looks like there might be some culverts there. Can't tell. That one looks like it does have a culvert. I can't tell on this one. It kind of looks like it does, like it's got the outline of it, but I can't tell. But those are going to be two really good spots to look. Some good offshore stuff. Also, you've got some brush that's out here just off the edge of this dock. I don't know what the heck this thing is. I don't know if this is brush or it's like a deer blind or what the heck it is, but just wanted you to check it. Plus you got some pretty good vegetation in there. You also got a real good sized laydown that's back in there as well. But really, I mean, if I'm coming down here and I'm just, using what we found on Google Earth, I'm going to put a lot of attention right here around this roadbed and those culverts for sure. So let's move on up. Didn't see too much along this bank line. Not saying there's not good fishing along these bank lines, just I wasn't able to identify anything from Google Earth on that bank line. Now, one spot I do see that I missed here, which it might be an offshore spot. Let's go look and see if it's offshore. If it's not, we're going to add it. So I think if I go offshore and I double click, we got to remember I'm right there. No, we did not. So we're going to add that. We're going to add that to the old offshore stuff because we need to go back there. So I'm going to go back to 2012. I'm going to take that view off again. We're going to go right here. It was that point right there. Notice how it comes off. I don't know if it's a hump or what it is, but I guarantee that's a spot you want to go check out. So I'm just going to put hump right here for now so that way we have it. But I would check this in here. It looks like you may even have some buoys out here to letting you know that that's there. And then also that saddle that's right in that area too. That could be a very interesting area to go look at as well. All right, let's move on up. We've got a ramp that's up here. And then I just wanted you to check this stuff. It looks like there's some debris right in here, maybe an old ramp or something. Not a ton there, but just a little bit there. Moving on up, we got some more laydowns that are back here in this corner. I'm gonna zoom out real quick and show you where I'm at. There was that little hump. Now I'm up here talking about that laydown in that corner. We've also got some debris that's up here off of this point. This point looks like it could be a pretty productive little point right in here. So you'll definitely want to look at that. I don't know if that's brush or what it is, but definitely a good thing to look at. We got another ramp that's up here too. These ramps might come into play on this lake because there's not a lot of shoreline cover. You got docks and ramps and that's about it. You don't have a bunch of laydowns or rock piles and stuff like that you would normally see. Moving up here, don't see much. You can tell here this is kind of a shallower, flatter area, of a big, huge rounded points. They could get up in here and do some feeding and stuff like that. Moving on down, not seeing much until we get way up here. Now we're at the very top of this back of this cut in or this cove. And when we get back here, we finally start seeing some stuff. Here we got a big laydown. We've got some debris that's out here. You can tell there's some really good debris that's out in here as well. This could be laydowns. This looks like it could be a little hump or something maybe over here. You've got more laydowns right there. I also want you to check this. There's something under the water right there that you can just barely see. So lots of stuff going on here. In fact, it looks like that creek channel actually moved. I don't know if I have to move it up. There we go, 2013, it moves into the right spot. You can see here we got a nice little creek channel there too. Move back here, you can see that debris a little bit better too. All that stuff I was telling you about. So I like this area. If you're gonna go shallow, I really like this area. Plus, if you look at it, I mean that cove, it's facing north, it's protected from the north wind. That just looks like a good spot from a springtime to maybe spend some time in and take a look at. All right, so we're gonna zoom around this point. Obviously, again, we're gonna talk about the offshore here in a little bit, or on the next video. We'll see how much time we have, but we got a saddle that's right here off the back end of this island, which is really, really cool. And then as we move on up here, of course, lots of docks to fish, right? Another ramp here. There was something back in here that caught my attention. Let's zoom in and see what it was. It looks like it's some kind of, maybe like an old laydown or something like that. I don't know. There's something right in here. So definitely just go look. It might not be anything, but it could be one of those little magical places where someone's got something in there. Now moving up here, you got another little flat that's up here as well. Looks like maybe a creek channel that comes through here, but this dock is like setting right in the middle of it. So I'm not sure how you would even get back in there, but this could be another little spawning area too. You got a little washout here, might have some debris and stuff like that out in this area that you could take a look at. All right, now let's move on up. Now we're getting to the very top of the lake. We do have some rock that's out here. Now here, you can kind of see it, but I'm gonna draw this back, and now we're really gonna be able to see it. I guarantee you this is a good spot. It just has to be. I mean, it's got a nice rocky spot. It's got a pretty decent ledge on both sides of it. It's got access to deep water. There's a lot of good things going on about that little spot right there. That's definitely a spot I would go check out. If you move on up here, it looks like there might be a laydown in there that I missed too, just kind of all by itself. But this whole ridge should be pretty good. I mean, I don't know if that's the pond, when it went this way and somehow opened up, I'm not sure. But fishing around this, especially in that rocky area, and if that's rock down there too, that's money. And then you've also got this right here. You've got this nice old, looks like an old road that runs across, and you've got these pylons that are out here that you could fish around too. Plus you could fish around the old road, because when the water's up, you don't even know that stuff's there. You'd have no idea. You can kind of see it just faintly, but that's it. This rock thing, I mean, you'd probably run up on it with your motor if you didn't know it was there. So definitely some stuff to take a look at on this side. Definitely some better looking stuff, at least some kind of cover. We've also got some possible brush piles that are out here where I put check. If you zoom in really, really close, you can kind of see something's going on there. Something's going on right in there as well. And then we get up here, we've got a couple things up here, just some brush again that was out here. Plus you can tell this is like a little hard spot or something. I'm not sure what's going on here, but check that. Another one of those little brush pile things or debris. Another one of them over here. There's a pipe that's back here, a ramp. And then when the water's up, if you can get back in here, you got some really deep cuts that are right here and right here. Now I don't know if this is fishable back in here or not, how deep that gets, but those two little deep cuts could be really good spots to go try to find a big one. All right, let's move this back, 2011. We're coming on back. Moving our way back down to the dam. We already talked about those. There's actually some rock. I don't know how we found rock, but we found a little bit of rock. And I don't even think it is rock. I'm gonna take that off. I might move that back up to 2013 and just see. Oh, there is rock there. I should have done that. All right, so there is a little bit of rock right there, just a hair bit. In fact, I'll just cancel this and it's already saved, so we won't have to worry about moving it. We've also got a ramp that's here as well. Moving down, lots of boat docks. Boat docks, boat docks, boat docks. Lots of docks on this lake. Moving down here, just didn't find anything from a shoreline perspective that I could point out to you guys. And again, that's not saying there's not some good places to fish between here and there. It's just I can't see anything from Google Earth. Here's that saddle we talked about. We're gonna move down. I didn't see anything in these little pockets, but I did see some stuff that was out here. I did want you to check this point. It looks like there might be some kind of a brush pile or something right there. That thing's on top of it so you can barely see it, but it is there, I promise you. Then we're gonna move up here, another ramp. And then we're gonna swing around here, just another ramp. Not a lot going on, right? Another ramp. It's kind of all the same shoreline until we get down here by the dam. And then finally I get down here and you can see this little cutout that's right here. It's got a little lay down. There's probably some brush piles and stuff in this area too. Probably a good spot to look from an offshore standpoint. All right, so speaking of offshore, I think we got that one done in pretty decent time, 13 minutes. So let's go ahead and switch over and let's look at this thing from the Navionics mobile app side and see what we have from an offshore standpoint. Here we are out on Lake Jacksonville. We're down here on the dam. We're gonna start right here on the dam. And what we're gonna do is we're just gonna point out the different areas where the contours are on this lake that I think you guys could really probably find some good stuff. So first off, on the dam, that first thing we saw was that point that came out. Remember where we saw that point? Well, right in that point is the main river channel that comes through here. So you've got a really good break off the edge of that point. I told you there's probably some brush pile or rock or something down there. Some kind of debris guaranteed gonna be down in there. And then this really big cut in. Look at this, it's 1 foot to 17 foot really, really quick. So real good area there. Here's another area here where it kind of tapers off and then it gets really, really deep right in that section. You could take a look at that. And then let's move back here, back to the back. We got a nice little rounded point here you could take a look at, some real good drops. And then over here, another good drop here, right? Nice, good tabletop, real good drop. You can also look at these points here, like this one. This one looks like it could be decent. And this one too, they're kind of all similar. So those 3 points right there, this one, and this one, especially this one with that big, nice break off the edge of it, could be really, really good. Now moving on up here, we're gonna keep scrolling up. The next thing I found was right up here. You got a real good drop right here. This whole bank line just drops super, super fast. But right here, you've got a little bit of a flat that kind of comes out, and then you've got that nice big drop. So definitely take a look at that. And then we're gonna move over here. We're gonna keep going. I mean, you could even look at the edge of these points. Look at this, it's 5 foot right here. You're getting way offshore, and it finally gets out to 13 foot. So, looking on those edges, looking on the edge of this point could be good. down here. See where this little rounded point kind of sticks out? It's almost like it's making like a little eddy right there. So you definitely would want to go and check stuff like that out as well. Now we're going to move up here. We got another one of those little tabletops, right, with the big drop. So I like that one. I don't think we saw too much back in here. There was one little spot back in here where it looks like the river channel might come in and swing real close, or at least right in this area, right around this little point right here. Maybe that. I was a little bit iffy on that one, but I do like this one up here where this little purple fish is. So if you look at this one, it's a nice long point that comes out, and it's only 14 foot on the top or 10 foot, something like that. It's not very, very deep on the top, but real good point. Again, another one of those areas where you could probably see some shell bed or something like that. You've got a real good top water area that's up here with that real good flat right off the main lake, and then you got a real good drop beside it. It has a thing in there that says it's top water, so you know that's going to be a good spot. Also moving around here, I didn't see too much in there. You got some good breaks that are out here. You know, if you want to get out, get off the shore, you might be able to find them off these little breaks that are out here. Now, as we move a little bit further up here, got a nice little rounded point with a real good break going on in there as well. So move up here in this pocket, and then I'll zoom out and show you guys where I'm at. Right in here, if you look at right in here, it's pretty shallow, pretty shallow, pretty shallow, and then boom, a real good drop going on right in there, right on the edge of that dock almost, in that little area. Let's zoom back, show you guys where I'm at up here on the top arm now. I'm going to zoom down a little bit more. We're going to get back out here to the main lake, and main lake point right here, very, very good, right? You got a nice shallow top with a good break that comes off the side of it there as well. We're going to come up here. You got another good rounded point up here by the swimming area. These are good little pinch points too. It's not very wide between these two areas. I mean, it's fairly wide, but from a big lake perspective, it's a pretty tight little spot that's right in there. You've also got some real good breaks on both of these, so definitely look at that. Look around this island too. This island could be really good. That's the saddle, right? You've also got a little top up here that's 10 foot that could break off. I can see some fish collecting around there, especially in here where these big sharp breaks are, right there and right there. And then you've got some sharp breaks that are over here too that you could take a look at. We're going to move up off this little point here, this little rounded point. Look how tight the contours are right there by the shoreline. I mean, that's probably 12 foot or so just right there off the bank. So definitely take a look at that stuff. You've got this in here that could be interesting too, kind of going around this point. See how flat it is here and how deep it is here. You could check in that little area too. I'm going to move back because I don't think the next thing's up until we get up here. Got two little purple fish up here. If you look here, this one comes out. It's a nice little point that comes out. I like it. It's only 9 foot on top. You got another hump that's over here too. It's like 6 foot on top. So that's really good looking offshore stuff there. There's that road bed that we talked about with the pillars. You've also got that rock and that hump that's out here too that you could look at. All right, so we're gonna move on down. See what else we find down here. These points, don't count them out, right? Even right here, see how this is 6 foot and then boom, a big drop. Plus you got this creek channel that's close by. That could be a point. These are really good drops I pointed out right in there. Another really good place where you got big drops too. And then moving down, there's that island we talked about. There's the pinch point we talked about. Didn't see too much back here in this cove, but it does say somebody said there was some brush back there. So maybe we marked that in Google Earth, I'm not sure. As we get out here more main lake though, here's your little ledges that are out here, right? You got one there, you got another one there. You got a good rounded point going on right here with a really good break. Kind of the same thing here, just real sharp breaks, real good pinch point right in there too. And then this point looks cool too. This little rounded point, you come out here and it's really tight here and then it drops like 28 feet. It's got a little bit of a top here though, 10 foot, boom, to 28 foot. So somewhere right around in that area, I would assume is probably a pretty good spot and probably a spot where someone's likely to drop a brush pile. We're also going to move down here. This takes us down to the dam where we started, and that's where that main river channel comes in, and that's that point we talked about on Google Earth. So that finishes up for Lake Jacksonville. Make sure to go out and check out the website, simplisticfishing.com. We've got all these waypoints out there for you already. You can load them right in your graph. You can take the GPX file, put it in Navionics just like this, all that good stuff. Plus, we have hundreds of lakes done now. We've got almost every lake in Texas, so definitely go check it out, simplisticfishing.com. And until next time, I hope you catch